And so that's why I believe that one of man's greatest problems is apathy. Let me tell you the story of apathy. God in Genesis 1 and 2 clearly had a plan for man. His plan for man was this, is to give him dominion and authority and rulership over his creation, as if God is mildly entertained by allowing his creation to have dominion over his creation. And then next, he actually gives him voice to define creation itself by naming animals. Again, as if God is mildly entertained by this interchange. Man speaks utterances over his lungs and his vocal cords and defines, again, God's creation. Next, God gives him one single moral rule. One, just one. Do not eat of the tree in the middle of the garden. There were two trees in the middle of the garden. One was called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Said, don't eat of that tree. That's it. And then after that, God created woman. Then in chapter 3, everything falls apart. We have this interchange of the woman in the garden, apparently alone with the serpent, having a conversation. I know it sounds a little odd and a little off, but just stay with me. She's having this conversation. She's lured into pluck of the tree that they were commanded not to eat from. She takes it off, she brings it back and eats it with man. I think this moment right here is indicative of perhaps the greatest sin of the entire Bible. Here's why. In this moment where a woman is connived into eating this fruit and then falls victim to it, so to speak, she brings it back. We see that man does nothing and says nothing, does nothing and says nothing. Go back and read it. It'll blow your mind. This again is man, whom God created to have dominion and authority and a power over his creation, gave him power to speak utterances over his vocal cords and lungs, and then gave him a single moral command, not 10, one moral command before woman was ever created. In this moment, he does nothing and says nothing. If that is not indicative of our greatest sin, I don't know what is. Because the rest of the entire Bible is a story of apathy regarding men. Men standing up and saying something. In fact, God had always been looking for a man. Ezekiel 22:30 says, "For I sought a man among them who would stand on my behalf for the land that I should not destroy it, and I found none." Believe it or not, I think God becomes infuriated about this throughout the Old Testament until finally, he gets tired of seeking a man and self-provides the man in Jesus Christ, who comes speaking and acting on his behalf in a way that he would want us to do, by fighting the impulse of inaction, indifference, passivity, and apathy.